Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've all had a terrific weekend and are ready to tackle this week head on, whatever the activities that you've got on this week. Hopefully, some of the content we cover in today's Facebook Live you can use this week to tackle the world with whatever you have on over the next few days. So, as you can see, the title of this Facebook Live is Your Best Mindfulness. Because mindfulness often gets thrown under the same bracket as meditation, and they are in fact two separate things. Certainly, a strategy you can use to do some mindfulness is meditation, but they are two different concepts. So, what we're going to go over today is what mindfulness actually is, and go over a few different examples of how you might be able to, I suppose, incorporate some mindfulness into your life in a way that's particularly effective and one that's going to be sustainable and really beneficial for yourself. So, what is mindfulness? So, by definition, mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something, or a mental state, and probably this is the one we should focus a bit more of our attention to, but a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. I really like that definition, not only because does it really emphasize the importance of being aware of what's happening in the present moment, it takes into consideration the acceptance side of things. So in the previous Facebook Live, we went over the acronym RAIN and the self-care element of that acronym in that acceptance side of things is something that's really important. So that's why I really like that definition. So we always hear it. I can't meditate. I can't clear my mind. Whenever I try and focus on my breathing, I think about, what happened yesterday. So mindfulness doesn't ask us to sort of stop what we're thinking or to actually, think about something differently. It's actually the concept of drawing our attention to what we're feeling in that given moment. So you don't have to completely cleanse your mind to complete mindfulness. It's not like, listen to the music, big breath in, hold, big breath out. It's very different to that. For those of you that can, use that meditation successfully, big props to you, but that's not for everyone, and we certainly hear that quite a lot. So it's about, I suppose, the intention is the important thing to deal with when we're discussing mindfulness. So that capacity to actually direct our attention towards what's happening at that given moment and embracing what's happening in that moment with that curiosity and acceptance again. So not being hard on ourselves for whatever we're feeling in that moment, but just being aware of it. So the concept, the concept of mindfulness is very difficult, same as goes for meditation. And the reason for this is that the way that us as humans, the way we're wired to function in this world is to perceive things through, what we've experienced in the past. And basically what we do is we draw all of these past experiences together, and that basically shapes up how we see the world. So in this bracket, the reason that mindfulness is difficult is really important, because if we could never actually make any correlations between experiences we've previously had, we wouldn't be able to make any sense of the world. So to give you a really basic example, if you placed your hand on a stove, I really hope that the reaction you feel is, wow, that's hot, take my hand off. If the concept of our mind didn't exist, there's every chance you just stick your hand on the hot stove again and end up with a pretty sore hand. So the concept of having our mind is really important, but being able to focus our attention away from what's happened previously and into what's happening in the present is really important. So our thoughts are never new, and they're not permanent either. They're an accumulation of experiences and thoughts that we've had over our lifespan, so a really long period of time. Some of these will make us feel good, and naturally we're going to have ones throughout our life that make us feel not so good as well. So the thing that I suppose is really evident in this day and age is that we very rarely stop and observe what's really happening in the moment within our mind and body in that sort of current time, and that's the important thing around mindfulness. We spend a lot of our time, existing with what we think is going to happen, in the future or what's already happened, as opposed to narrowing our thoughts into what's happening, in the here and now. So for me, I'm speaking to you guys at the moment, completing this live. The appointments that I have later on in the day should not be in the forefront of my mind at the moment. Or likewise, the Facebook Live I gave last week, shouldn't be thinking about that at the moment, just narrowing my attention to what's happening right now. So a lot of people then, I suppose, use that information and think that mindfulness is just about positive thinking, and that's not quite true either. Positive thinking and really aggressive positive thinking can sometimes lead to the same repercussions as negative thoughts, because sometimes we might be really looking forward to an event that we might have played it up so much in our mind that when we're actually there, we spend so much time thinking about, is this as good as I thought it would be, as opposed to actually enjoying that in the moment. Same thing with negative experiences in the past. We might go into some, it might be you might be catching up with someone who, last time they gave you some really bad news and it wasn't a great experience. So the next time, it might be that they've got some really great news. So instead of dwelling on the interaction you had with them last time, it would be really important to go in with a mindful approach and, focus your attention into what they've got to say this time around. Hopefully that all makes sense. So mindfulness can be broken into two categories. So we've got our formal mindfulness, and our formal mindfulness is, I suppose, what comes under that meditation bracket. So that's where you will sit still, you'll normally have your eyes closed, you'll often focus your attention in on your breathing, you might have some soft music in the background, and you're really narrowing your attention in towards your breath and those kinds of things. With our more informal mindfulness, we're trying to achieve the same thing in narrowing our focus, but instead of really directing our focus towards something like our breath, we're doing it in a more way that's taking into consideration what we're doing in that moment. So whether you're washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, having a shower, having an appointment here at Health in Balance, we're narrowing our attention into what's happening in that moment, as opposed to making a conscious decision to focus in on our breath. So your more guided and self-guided meditations, that's our formal mindfulness. So that's where you might stick your headphones in, quiet room, dark space, eyes closed, and almost, breathing to a beat or being told how to breathe. If you're capable of doing that meditation side of things, couldn't encourage you to continue doing that more, as the research and evidence around that is, there's quite a lot of evidence to support the benefits that mindfulness and meditation in that way can have. For a lot of us, and myself included, I find that quite difficult, really hard actually. So I much prefer this more form of informal mindfulness. So bringing our attention to the task at hand or what we're doing in that moment. So for me at this second, it's delivering this Facebook Live. A really nice, easy way to be mindful in the moment is to use our senses. So sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste, and bringing them into times or tasks that we've done during the day. So you might go for a walk and have a think about when you finish, like what did you actually see while you were walking? It might have been, might be autumn and the leaves were coming off the tree. It might have been a puppy playing with an older dog. You might be having a meal, writing down what did the food taste like. I like to do that without actually using, the different foods as adjectives. So saying it tasted happy or it tasted, excited, whatever the case is. What could you smell when you were doing the grocery shopping? What could you feel when you were doing the dishes? When you were sitting in the park, what could you hear? So using your senses is a really nice way to become quite mindful, because if you're not consciously thinking about what could you hear while you're in the park, your mind's elsewhere. You're thinking about what's happening later in the day or what's happened the day before, or something different, of course, as well. Obviously, a really nice way to become quite mindful is to narrow our focus into our breathing as well. So we went over this in some depth in the previous Facebook Live. So just have a bit of a scroll if you'd like some more information about the importance of breathing and the role that that can play in managing your anxiety more specifically. But hopefully that just gives you a few ideas of what you can do to incorporate some mindfulness into your lifestyle. So writing something that you saw down after a walk, writing down what you felt after doing the dishes. Maybe for you it is a more guided meditation kind of thing. But whatever it is, it doesn't have to be, over the top and extravagant. It might be 30 seconds out of your day, and that might be your best mindfulness. So if you've got any questions or queries on what the best fit for you might be, please comment below or get in touch with one of us here in the clinic, as the literature around this is quite overwhelming, and we'd love you to find what your best mindfulness is, so that you can incorporate it into your lifestyle and obviously, benefit the way that you should in all the ways that we would hope. So I hope you can use this not just throughout the rest of this week, but throughout, into the future as well. I do hope you all have a fantastic week. There'll be some more content for Mindful March or Mental Health March later in the week. Look forward to hearing and seeing from you all soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.